woman dying from COVID confessed something really heart-wrenching to me. She told me that when she was a teenager, she told her mother that one of the local black boys had touched her behind the grocery store. And in 1936 Louisiana, this was a very big deal. Not only was this boy lynched, but he was beaten, and his genitals were cut off. And then the family home was burned to the ground. And she watched it all happen. You want to know why? Because she saw that his sisters had prettier dresses than she did, and she just didn't like it. So she lied. And then it clicked. This same woman had been hallucinating for the past couple of days, saying that there was a black boy in her room watching her, would not stop staring at her, and she was scared shitless. She asked if she could be forgiven. I told her the only person who could forgive her was the boy she killed. Not sorry.
Wow. Can you guys imagine what you would feel like if you had contributed to such an evil act? She lied on him, and it got him beaten, castrated, hung, and his whole family's house burned down. All because she was jealous of his sister's dresses. Now, she finds the dresses to be prettier than her dresses, and this is just perspective. This horrible act wasn't even done out of racism. It was done out of jealousy. Now, here's the kicker. The reason that it happened to that degree was because it happened in 1936, believe it or not. The little girl didn't decide how the boy was to be punished. The system did that, but the little girl is responsible for using that system as a weapon. Now, because of that, she carried the guilt with her whole life, so much so she felt like she needed to confess it on her deathbed. Why? To relieve guilt? If we only knew that guilt is manifested in your own head. The hell that you create, you're creating it. The hell that you're experiencing, you're creating it with the guilt and the shame of the things that you did in life. No one else is doing this to you. So she manifested seeing the boy, okay, haunting her. And this is why we say ghosts haunt, right? Because she's manifesting her guilt and shame into the boy in front of her, and she's tormented with this guilt. And she has to tell someone else what she did, as if it's going to somehow relieve her of the action before she dies. I want you guys to understand that throughout life, we've had many systems that protected certain individuals, that helped certain individuals rise to power, rise to success, and harm others. And in each of those systems, the system can be used as a weapon. We have a system now that can be used as a weapon. We've seen the system be used as a weapon many times over. It is not the person who decides what happens to the person they're accusing, but it's the system. But if you're aware of the system, you know you have a weapon at your disposal, especially if that system benefits you. The system clearly benefited her. She used it to her advantage, and it cost that young man his life. Now, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy about this, okay? The trauma that came from it. Let me break something down for y'all. In the Bible, which is the book that they used, okay, then and now, but in this Bible, it says that if you don't have testicles, you are not allowed into the presence with God. And that is why they used to castrate black people before they hung them. Do you understand? Because they felt like if they castrate you, you cannot go to heaven. And also, the fear that you would have would be, even if you lived your entire life in submission to them and God, if they castrate you, none of that would even matter. Because God said, without your testicles, you cannot have a relationship with him. You're not allowed in his presence. Do you understand? It's the psychosis of all that it goes with it. First, you got to watch your family members be beaten and hung, but the castration means that their soul is forever damned. Do you understand? So I want to ask you something. The lady says to her, the only person that can forgive you is the boy. I know a lot of you guys are not going to want to hear this, but the only person that can forgive her is herself. But it's going to be impossible, or damn near it. Do you understand? When you commit acts that are that egregious, it's going to be very hard for you to forgive yourself, because how could you forgive yourself? How could you forgive yourself for saying someone touched you behind a grocery store, and that lie ends up costing them their life? They were beaten, castrated, hung, and their families' houses were burned down because of your lie. How could you forgive yourself? Even if the boy said, I forgive you, death was the most amazing thing that happened to me. It actually set me free, and I've never known freedom to this degree. She still wouldn't be able to forgive herself. And many of us think that somebody outside of us can forgive us. Forgiveness is not on anybody else but you. It is us who manifest our own agony in our brains, y'all. Now, I don't have any judgment for the lady who passed away, because she's dead. And any judgment I would have for her would only create a hell for me. So I refuse to be angry and full of animosity, all because of what she did to someone else years ago. But I will say, we need to do better, family. And it's very important that we understand the consequences to our actions, because for someone else, they could be fake.